Pokemon videos on this channel, they don't usually perform well, but that's not going to stop me from talking about Pokemon, because I do kind of care about Pokemon. We just had our Pokemon Presents Pokemon Day. Happy Pokemon Day, February 27th. So they always do this thing towards the end of February where it's Pokemon Day, and then they announce all this different Pokemon stuff, new announcements for like games. It's a lot of like other material. You usually get like a mainline announcement towards the end, but it's a lot of like mobile games, merch, spin-off games, etc. And I'm mainly going to talk about the new mainline game we dropped at the end. I'm going to do a rough comb over of some of the stuff they did announce in this presentation. And I got some thoughts about Gen 10 because we got Pokemon Gen 10. You can tell this is going to be an off-the-cuff discussion, non-scripted video, but talking about like some of the announcements in the Pokemon Presents, some of the other stuff. I'm not going to touch on everything. Pokemon Sleep? Yeah. Put me to sleep. Pokemon Cafe? Yeah. Who cares about that? They drop in a little like music player and it looks like a little Game Boy, and it comes with like 45 different cartridges with songs from Pokemon Red, Green, and Blue. Like, that's really cute. I think that's a really fun, cute little novelty type of toy. I would definitely buy that, even though it would literally only play just the Gen 1 music. It's a cute little like novelty kind of thing. 30 years of Pokemon, man. That did not throw me off. What threw me off? Pokemon Go is turning 10 in July. Oh my god, dude. This game is turning 10 years old. This game dropped after I graduated high school. It's almost been a decade since I graduated high school. Oh my god. I play Pokemon Go all the time. Oh, 10 years of that. Jesus. Pokemon Go's Pokemon Go. Either you still stick around with it or you don't. Pokemon Masters EX. This leaked like several hours beforehand. They're dropping a 1996 version of Red in the Ken Sugimori art style. That looks really cool. I'm not gonna lie, that is like a really, really cool anniversary type celebration. Pokemon Fire Red and Leaf Green. Some people at Nintendo definitely sent whoever dropped that online to their Guantanamo Bay, because there's no way they wanted to announce that like a week before. I at least don't think so. Maybe they did. I doubt it. Regardless, Pokemon Fire Red and Pokemon Leaf Green, they're dropped in the eShop. Old ass Pokemon games, the remakes of the Gen 1 games, they never got re-released. Now they're re-released. That's cool. $20. A lot of people saying it's cheap. A lot of people saying it's overpriced. It's a whole thing. I'm not going to get into that like right here. It's cool we're at least getting Fire Red, Leaf Green. I'm at least glad they touched on Pokemon Home support, because literally they confirmed Pokemon Home support was coming to Fire Red and Leaf Green, and then they pulled that from the eShop description. So it was like, is there a Pokemon Home support or not? There is, it's just coming later. Probably should have come as soon as these games dropped, but better late than never. It's whatever. I'm always surprised at how good Pokopia looks. Like, it looks really solid. They're putting a lot into the game, especially for a Pokemon spinoff, because you usually get like dense enough spinoffs, or usually don't. Not all Pokemon spinoffs are created equal. But I do wonder how well Pokopia is going to sell, because like it is a Pokemon game, but it's an Animal Crossing like. I think that is going to catch on. I think this game's probably going to be one of the better selling Pokemon spin-off series. Not sure. Pokemon Champions arriving in April is really cool. Mega Garchomp Z. You know me, I love my Gen 4 mons. Okay, and the biggest thing, my most hype thing in that Presents that wasn't Gen 10 is Pokemon XD Gale of Darkness. Oh, they're finally dropping that on NSO. Oh my god, finally. One of the games everyone forgets about. They're putting it on NSO. Where's Colosseum? Where's Pokemon Colosseum? They're going with the second game and not the first game. It's like with Thousand Year Door. It's like with the Paper Mario thing. Because a lot of people ask, why didn't they remake 64? They just skipped straight to Thousand Year Door because the old like 50-year-old geriatric fuck at Nintendo was like, oh, I grew up with Thousand Year Door. I want to remake Thousand Year Door instead. So they just skipped the first game and they go to the second one. Now they're releasing the second GameCube Pokemon game and they're skipping the first. So like, that's kind of funny. I do wish we get Colosseum soon. I wouldn't mind if Colosseum comes in like April, May, June. I want these games to come a lot sooner. Oh my god. It's the whole thing with GameCube games on NSO, and like they're also a drip feed type method. Game Freak and Pokemon Company also have a problem with drip feeding method, because like they literally take decades to drop any of their old games. Like literally they dropped like the Gen 1 games on the eShop back in 2016. Oh, because of anniversary. And then they just dropped the Gen 2 games like a year or two later just to get it out of the way. Oh, look at that. 10 years later, now we're getting the Gen 1 remakes on NSO. I'm like, man, I would be so much more hype if we got like Ruby, Sapphire, Emerald on the eShop, or like maybe gold, silver, crystal. That's also a whole thing. That's also a whole thing I'm not going to get into. That's basically it as far as the other announcements. But obviously the big thing on everyone's minds is Pokemon Winds and Waves. Pokemon Gen 10, they always do a thing where it's this like live action or CGI type visual that like transitions from like, oh guys, look, it's like little visuals of the older gens, and then it transitions into the new generation. They did that with this reveal. It's pretty standard stuff, but okay, you know, this is only our first trailer, but there already is kind of a lot to chew on, and it's a lot of good. It's a lot of good, guys. It's a modern Pokemon game. It's a modern Pokemon announcement. And there's a kind of a lot of good so far, so far. But Winds and Waves, Pokemon Winds and Waves. You hear about modern Pokemon. You always hear just like these games literally run and they look like N64 games. And that's kind of true. They have an art style. Sword and Shield has an art style for sure. I mean, Scarlet and Violet does too, but like I think it's more defined in Sword and Shield. But like with the Switch era Pokemon games, the mainline ones especially, since Sword and Shield, they have not looked the best. Like these games still basically looked like they just ripped them straight out of the 3DS and just put them on console and called it a day. That's pretty much what it feels like. And everyone always talks about just like the visuals, the performance, the overall presentation of Pokemon, because like it is remarkably bad in some of these cases. And because it's Pokemon, it's the biggest multimedia franchise of all time. It's like the biggest grossing franchise of all time. One of the biggest video game franchises of all time. It makes so much money. It's got millions upon millions upon millions upon millions of fans and all that stuff. Like there's a standard of quality if this was literally any other company and any other series. And it's not really a Nintendo thing. It's mainly a Game Freak and Pokemon Company type thing. Because like Sword and Shield was one thing that like those games in some areas looked pretty good. Most of the time though, it basically looked like a GameCube, Wii, PS2 era type game. At worst, it looked like an N64 game in some cases. But then Gen 9 comes along, Scarlet and Violet, and they somehow look even worse. Like they look and run even worse. At least until they bought Scarlet and Violet on Switch 2, and that was a free update, which they run great on Switch 2, thank God, but they didn't look the best, they didn't run the best. Legends Arceus was the same way. Legends ZA kind of too. Like it's also kind of in that same camp. Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl look awful too, but that's also kind of a whole other thing on its own. But the type of like high quality in terms of just presentation, performance, art style, visual direction, etc., all that stuff you get from other Nintendo games, you just did not get that with Pokemon. These games looked pretty bad for where we were in the modern gaming landscape. And especially comparing to other first-party Nintendo games, like Pokemon was pretty far behind. That kind of visual downgrade, especially the performance in Scarlet and Violet's case, like it did affect the experience for a lot of people. Which does bring up the whole like graphics debate, like are graphics that important in a game when the gameplay should be good? And like Scarlet and Violet does kind of amplify that, because the gameplay in Scarlet and Violet's pretty good. A lot of people do praise that game a lot more than Sword and Shield in terms of gameplay, but I don't know, man. I don't think there's anything wrong with wanting these games to look like they're HD Switch 2 games, you know? If they can make these games actually look and feel like big AAA Nintendo games, I think that's all people want. I think that's the main thing people want, you know? Like, that's no problem in of itself, too. But part of it also doesn't matter, because the games still sell really well anyways. So it's like, do they really have to, like, up the quality? Do they really have to push the standard if they're still gonna sell 20-ish, 30-ish million copies anyways, you know? Which, sure, but like, you kind of want to build this kind of goodwill with your consumers, with your fan base, you know? And it is kind of most people that bring it up all the time. It's always brought up a Pokemon. Like, it is a genuine it is a valid concern. It is a genuine problem. And it is worth talking about. All of that to say, I don't think a lot of us were having high expectations and hopes just visually with Winds and Waves, with Pokemon Gen 10. But I gotta admit, man, it's not what I would expect from a Switch 2 game. Visually, though, this is honestly kind of what I expected Sword and Shield and Scarlet and Violet to look like. Like, Winds and Waves actually it actually looks like a Switch 1 game, not a Switch 2 game. It's not all the way there. I can't complain too much, because, like, this game actually does look not just halfway decent. It looks kind of good. Kind of good. It looks kind of good. The setting, a lot of it's by water. I think Greece is like a big inspiration for whatever this new region's gonna be, but It's a lot of water, but like it looks like there's going to be underwater routes you can explore in the game because you see like Pokemon like Luminion and Wailord down there. You also have like these big massive landscapes of like hills and forests, but just like the detail visually, there's going to be a lot of talk of just graphics and visuals. If you don't care about that, I'm sorry, but like that always was kind of a big hot topic with Pokemon as of late. But no, like Winds and Waves looks pretty good. You know, like there's actual fucking lighting. There's actual lighting for one thing, and the lighting looks really good when the sun sets, when you're inside the lava caves, like that looks really good. The shadows off the trees, like when you compare this to Scarlet and Violet, like Scarlet and Violet looked flat as hell, man. The colors were very flat, shadows were very flat, like everything just looked like it had like zero depth to it. There was no great detail, textures looked like ass. And for how bad the game looked, like the game still ran poorly back when it was just Switch 1. Here though, like not only does it run really efficiently, but like there's actual grass textures, the rock textures in some areas look kind of poor, but like the rocks actually have shape to them. They're not just random shapes tossed in a body of blue. The water looks like actual water. The water looks pretty good in this game. It's got good looking water. You know a game has halfway decent graphics if it's got good looking water. Actually, no, I take that back. Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl have good looking water, but literally the rest of the game looks bad. But no, this game actually looks pretty good. They open on a windmill shot. The first trailer we got for Scarlet and Violet, they literally open on the windmill. They open on the windmill in here too, but like guys, look, it's actually a stable 60 FPS windmill. There's no lag, there's actual rust, there's actual art direction on some of the visual elements, guys. We're actually treating this like a modern, quote-unquote, video game. I'd say it's relatively modern-ish. There's a lot of asterisks you have to do with talking about modern Pokemon games. Which sucks, but hey man, I'll take what I can get. This game actually looks like good. Nothing great, nothing crazy, nothing groundbreaking, nothing like, oh my god, this looks like a PS4 Pro game. Like, no. Pokemon games kind of looked like PS2 games for a while. Now they look like PS3 games. This is a big jump from Scarlet and Violet. That's kind of the whole point. That's the main thing. And big thing, probably biggest thing about this, these games are dropping in 2027. I think a lot of us were expecting, okay, I'll speak for myself. I, at least, was expecting these games to drop 2026. Because it felt like they always had to adhere to this very strict deadline. They always have to like mesh all these different releases of the merch, the mainline games, the spin-offs, etc. together. But this game's going to drop in 2027. It's probably going to drop during the holiday. They always drop their mainline games during the holiday. There's two different patterns with Game Freak and Pokemon games. I forget. It might have just been one. Okay, one of them's the release with Generations. Because if this game drops in 2027, this would mark the longest wait between generations, like ever, with Pokemon and Game Freak. Because I think since Black and White, most generations have dropped like after every like 3 years or so. You get like the game, then a remake the next year, then a third version the next year, then a new generation. With this though, Scarlet and Violet dropped in 2022. This is dropping in 2027. A 5-year gap is new, something worth know. But this was also kind of a trap we fell into with Scarlet and Violet, because or like Legends Arceus. I forget. Okay, it was one of the it was either Legends Arceus, Scarlet and Violet, or Legends ZA. Because one of those games had like more than 3 years of development or so, and we're like, oh my god, it might actually be like really good. But there were still problems with it. There were still performance issues with all of them, especially Scarlet and Violet. So like it might be a similar trap we've fallen into. I forget specifically how that trap went, but I feel like we've had that conversation before. We're like, oh, they're taking longer to develop these games. Oh, they might run better. They might be better, and turns out they looked and ran worse. And like, it's not always a matter of just time. Like, time helps, sure. Don't rush these games out the door. You give these people like enough time to like properly polish everything up, then the games can be good. But it also does just depend on the people behind the project, if they have the tools and skills capable of fleshing these games out the best way they can, with graphics, art direction, gameplay mechanics, bugs, tweaks, all that kind of nonsense and shenanigans. But with Pokemon, you always have like hundreds of different people working on these. They can make like really good games if they really put their best foot forward, which in some ways they felt like they have been, at least with some of the gameplay. With Scarlet and Violet, I don't think a lot of people really liked much of the gameplay with Sword and Shield. They liked the wild areas, but that's how we got Legends, and then Scarlet and Violet going full open world and all that nonsense. But like Dynamaxing people didn't like all that much. The story was very handholdy. I hear a lot of mixed things about Scarlet and Violet's story. I hear it's better. I didn't get far in Scarlet and Violet, but there's like good things about these games, and there's other things about these games that could be a lot better, and it does feel like, at least to plenty of fans online, that Game Freak and Pokemon Company aren't putting their best foot forward. This game though, it does actually feel like they are putting more of an effort than they usually do, and that is pretty exciting. If we're talking presentation too, guys, Pikachu has a battle stance. And the model is tweaked too. Oh yeah, I almost forgot. There was that giant ass giga like Terra leak of a bunch of Pokemon assets and files and whatnot. And a lot of that revolved around this game. A lot of elements of just Winds and Waves leaked. And Pikachu's model was tweaked. Ozempic Pikachu. That was the name of the model. Because Pikachu looked a lot skinnier than he normally did. But Pikachu has a new battle stance. They're like touching up like animations and idle stances. Like they're giving more of a damn about the presentation. I respect that. I respect that a lot. I appreciate that a lot. The lighting on the wave. There's actual lighting reflecting on the waves. Because the water in Scarlet and Violet is just one big blob of blue with no detail. Dude, those games looked flat, man. They looked really, really, really flat. A lot of visual elements about this game looks really good. Gameplay elements, we don't have that much on. We get like a small sneak peek of the trainer running around, passing Pokemon and whatnot. Obviously, there's inspiration from Scarlet and Violet. The trainer designs look a lot more like how the trainers looked in Scarlet and Violet. I would say like there's more detail. They look a little more aged up, there's more detail. The world design, the fact this trailer opens on a windmill. There's a couple shots very similar to how Scarlet and Violet looked. You have like a cliff on the side and then like a meadow, but it's going for the same open world thing. I don't think anyone's surprised about that. But performance-wise, I think this game's probably good. I could be wrong. It's always Game Freak. It's always Pokemon Company. So I could be wrong. You never know. But performance-wise, I think we're going to be fine. It is a Switch 2 game. Scarlet and Violet managed to run really well on Switch 2 after they ran really poorly on Switch 1. So they're probably going to... So Winds and Waves is probably going to run just fine, 60 FPS. Specific gameplay mechanics and tweaks, we're probably going to have to figure that out later on as they show more of the game. But we have like 2 years of waiting until this game comes out. Oh yeah. And of course the obvious, the starters. It's funny. You know, it's really funny. There's a lot of water emphasized. Like one of the games is literally called Waves. That one IGN employee definitely fell to his knees at a Walmart seeing how much water's in this game. But also, 20th anniversary Pokemon. Sun and Moon were the mainline games to come during that anniversary. Rowlet was so good. They made Rowlet 2. Also, the fire type's a Pomeranian. Like, that shit's really awesome. But your grass starter, Grout. It's a little grass bird. You're doing Rowlet again. It's not as cute as Rowlet. It's cute, but it's not as cute as Rowlet. This is kind of giving me Sun and Moon vibes. Pombon is your fire starter. It's literally a Pomeranian. Like, that's really cool. I might go with the Pomeranian just because it's a Pomeranian. Then you have a Gecko. Another water lizard. You've been doing a lot of those water lizards lately. Don't you think you might want to spice it up a little bit? Gekwa. Gekwa looks fine. It looks fine. No, I take that back. This shit's not fine. That Gecko, I already forgot its name. He's fucking ugly, man. Look at it's got the bean head sideways and giant ass eyes. I get it's a gecko. And I said we're doing another water lizard. We've really only done 2, but we had Froakie, Greninja. We had a lot of reptiles. That's what I was trying to say. But bro, they fucked up the water starter 4 times. 4 times in a row. They fucked up the water starter. No one was choosing. The only people choosing Poplio were because they wanted Primarina. People were going for Rowlet or Litten. No one was picking Poplio. People were going for either Scorbunny, because Cinderace is broken, or Grookey, because Grookey's cute and Rillaboom is kind of cool. No one was going for Sobble. Quaxly, I think, had like I think the Gen 9 starters had a more even spread, because you had Weed Cat, then you had dumbass Fire Croc, and then you had like a cute little duck. But like, I think I prefer Skeledirge way the fuck more than Quaquaval, man. What the fuck is this Gecko, man? Because it's also, they already did Gecko with Trico. But like, Trico looks so much cooler. This shit just looks ugly. 4 times in a row. I'm sorry for you water type fans. I know you as fans. Every single Pokemon has fans. I'm sorry, man. They literally have not given us a good water starter as good as or since Greninja or Swampert, Mudkip, Blastoise. I think, no, I was gonna say Totodile and Feraligatr, but I'm like, no. I can't do Typhlosion like that. Fuck Meganium though. Chikorita's cute, did not save Meganium in the end. I'm sorry, man. Samurott arguably was the best starter in Gen 5 too. But that's what I mean. We've only gotten good fire and water starters since then. I literally got the shit end of the stick with the water starters as of late. I don't know what's going on. In terms of the water starters. And again, it's literally the grass or the fire starter. You want the Pomeranian or you want Rowlet 2? If I get both games, I will probably choose Rowlet 2 for the second one. I'm definitely feeling the Pomeranian. It also depends on the final Evo, because you can never bet on the final Evo being good all the way through. Same for the second one, but the final one matters more. Oh, man. I'm sticking with Pomeranian for now. I think these starters definitely look better than the Gen 8 starters. They're not the worst looking starter trio, I'll give them that. But that looks fine. I like the starter trio. I'm feeling the Fire Pomeranian. I usually go for the Fire starters too, unless the Water or Grass starter looks really, really cute, or the final Evo is really, really cool. I usually go for the Fire types. Tepic literally jebaited me. Chespin jebaited me in X. I was pissed about that. Chestnut fucking sucks. Quilladin fucking sucks. There's a shot near the end of the trailer too. One of the clouds kind of looks like a dragon. I don't know if... Is that something to go on? Maybe just a spare Pokemon? Maybe a legendary? I don't know, but I think that's largely it. It's literally just visual elements. That's like the bulk of this presentation, just the visuals, the models, the animations, and how the game actually looks halfway decent compared to Scarlet and Violet. This actually does look halfway of a modern game. That's largely it. I'm cautiously optimistic. If they're really putting their best foot forward, they're really trying to take as much time to polish up Winds and Waves as much as they can, I'm all for it. I'll gladly take that. That kind of sparks that whole extra discussion of like, we all thought this was going to be the holiday game this year. Now we're back to squares, not even square one, we're back to square zero. And just, we don't know what the back half of 2026 for Nintendo is going to look like. This game next year, this is going to help the Switch to a lot. But I think like the holiday, or just the overall like back half of 2026, from June to December, I think a lot of people are wondering like what that's going to look like in terms of big ass games for Nintendo. Because we know about the first half year games, Yoshi, Fire Emblem Fortune's Weave, we just got Mario Tennis Fever, and Splatoon Raiders is probably going to come sometime in the middle of the summer, but people are just wondering about that one big game. Just that one big game. We don't know what that is yet. We didn't get a Nintendo Direct in February. We could get one in March, or they might just save it all the way to June and just leave people chomping at the bit for like, man, Nintendo, what are you doing? You got no games for this thing. Where are the games? This thing's gonna flop, even though it's selling really well, even though we got like several games that dropped last year, the back half of last year when the Switch 2 dropped. That's a whole thing. It's a whole thing. It's a whole thing. All in all, I like the starters. I kind of like the starters. I like the Pomeranian one the most. Winds and Waves. Doing the tropical thing again. I think for whatever the 40th anniversary mainline game's gonna be, they're gonna make the game another tropical setting. Pokemon Winds and Waves. I'm looking forward to it. I'm cautiously optimistic. I'll actually give Game Freak and Pokemon Company the benefit of the doubt for once. I'll be a little more optimistic. Actually, no, I said that with Scarlet. Well, no, I did say that with Scarlet and Violet, but some parts of the game were like, ooh, really good, ooh, really bad. But I don't know. There was more things I liked about Scarlet and Violet than things I didn't like. But I'll give them the benefit of the doubt. Games look halfway decent. Games actually look kind of good. Some of the new Pokemon look kind of good. The region itself looks pretty good too. Curious about like just like the tower and just the main city, because there's like a bunch of like water slides. I think that's where like the Greece inspiration comes from, and it makes me think of Sonic Unleashed, because it's like, ooh, it's like Apatos. It's like the first level in Sonic Unleashed, which is inspired by Greece. Give me your thoughts. Give me your thoughts down below. This was kind of rambly. This was kind of a rambly discussion. I get that. It's not everyone's cup of tea. That's fine. But give me your thoughts down below. What do you think of the starters? Do you like how the waves actually look like actual waves? The water actually looks like water. I bet you do. I bet you do. If they can make these games look and feel like the biggest franchise out there, I'm all for it, man. It doesn't look Rush 2. It doesn't look Rush 2. It doesn't look Rush 2. Hey man. I don't blame some Pokemon fans being like, man, the bar really is that deep in hell. But no, man, there's like actual good things to come out of this. Like, the game actually looks kind of good. The starters look kind of good. The game doesn't even look all that rushed. the bar doesn't have to be in hell anymore. I guess is kind of the big thing. If there's one thing to not look forward to, it like they didn't announce it yet. It's whatever the price of these games is gonna be. That's gonna be the whole thing. That's gonna be the thing that probably like causes a stir of backlash and criticism and heated discussion. Because I do think these games are gonna be $80. I'll be shocked if it's 70, but like even then, we're still doing the dual release Pokemon games. Even though that hasn't been necessary in a long time. That's not gonna be a fun day. It's not gonna be a fun day in the Pokemon community once we find out this is gonna be $80 dual release Pokemon games. You're gonna have to pay $160 to get the full experience of Pokemon Gen 10. Jesus Christ. Okay, let me not try and sour the mood too much. Because the game does look good. Game actually does look good. This week's been one hell of a roller coaster. Literally, so we're actually done with Smiling Friends. Bro, I was literally up when they announced that. I was so sad. I was so sad, man. I'm still kind of sad about that. But then, a new backyard baseball game after years. I might make a video about that. Guys, I love backyard baseball. Love backyard baseball. I might make a video about that. I don't even know if that video would do good, but I don't know. We'll see. Pokemon, though. Videos don't perform that well, but it's like I do Pokemon. A couple of videos of mine have done well view-wise with Pokemon. Like, I think I had a couple of videos on the anime. Those have done well. I think I've done like 1 or 2 videos related to the games. Yeah, Pokemon needs to slow down. Hey, and if they're slowing down, I'm hype. I should probably go. Guys, what do you think about Pokemon Gen 10? What do you think about Winds and Waves? Let me know down below. Thank you for watching. Stay super.
Yo, hey, 妹妹，嘿，我来呀！共和大哈哈呀！拉面，嘿，来面，白哥面，共和再见呀！哈哈，拉面，酱手面，谢谢。